Hello, I'm Daniela. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to embroider a button onto some fabric. Now I'm embroidering just a sweet little flower. It's very simple. It uses just 2 stitches, the French knot and a straight stitch. And you're using those holes in the button strategically. It's a very simple and fun craft that you can do to embellish a sweater or a sweatshirt or a little girl's dress, or like I use them in my slow stitching pieces. And I'll show you a couple of those at the end of the video. So let's get started. So here's a fun way, it's very simple, to dress up buttons. This would look very sweet on maybe a little girl's sweater or something like that. This is an assortment of the different colors and how they look with the little flowers embroidered through the button. I'll show you some examples at the end of how I use it in my slow stitching. To get started, you'll need your buttons. Now you need a 4-holed button. So the 2-hole won't work, the unusual ones, which are quite beautiful, won't work. And when you're looking for a 4-holed button, if you can see with this one, it's got a blue backing, so you could stitch it this way. But over here with the blue coming through the front of the button, I'm not sure this would make the ideal candidate to use for this situation. So I'm going to set this aside. So here I have regular 4-hole buttons, and now I just want to go through them. So this one is just a wood button. It's got the little backing that maybe stuck at some point, but this side looks good, so I'd use that side. Same thing here. It's got some writing on one side. The other side looks good. So just be a little discerning. The same thing if your button has texture. You may or may not want that to show. It could be a cute way to frame your flower, or you might just want the plainness of it. So just keep that in mind. And then I have a little button here. This one's kind of interesting because it's rounded, but then it's got this square inside, and I think it'd be adorable. This one is kind of a plain Jane, beautiful colored button. And then this little yellow one, again, has that little frame. So just choose the one that works for your project. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I just have a little, kind of a little fabric bookmark here in my stash I haven't used for anything. I'll just attach a button to that. I think it'll be a little sweet way to make it a little more special. And I'll use that little wooden button. So then I'm going to choose the colors of thread. I want a green for the leaves, and then I'm going to use just a pink for the actual flower head. So you can vary the thickness of the thread according to the look you're going for. And you can also stitch multiple strands. I have 4 strands of green here that I'm going to use for my stem and my leaf. And I have a knot on the end of it. So I'm going to just take that button and I'm going to put it down the base of my little bookmark here, my fabric. And I want to make it so that it makes a diagonal. It's not square. I want one of the holes to be higher than the others. And I'll just try and line it up. So once I have it lined up, I'm going to come in from the back with my green. And I can just go through the button. Now this is a very thick button, so keep in mind you might not want that same thickness in your work. I love the texture, but some people like it very graceful and very dainty. And then I'm just going to stitch straight up top. This will anchor my button into place, making it a little easier to work on. And then I can do the leaves. So I'm going to come in from the bottom hole again and stitch up to the 3 o'clock hole. And then I'm going to come up from the bottom and stitch up to the 9 o'clock hole. And I have the basic leaf done. I have the stem and the leaves. You can go back in if you want for more effect and stitch additional leaves. Just going through it again, it just makes it a little more pronounced. I think I'm going to do that because I'm not using the 6 strands of floss. And I'll leave the stem as it is, a little more delicate. And then on the back, I'm just going to knot it very carefully, pulling my threads and just making a little knot to the side because I'm going to be coming in through those holes again. I don't really want to interfere with that. And then I'll trim off all my threads. Just keeps it a little neater. So there I have the front of it. Now I have all 6 strands of embroidery floss here with my knot on the end of the pink. Now I'm going to bring my needle and thread up through the top hole, and I want to hold it in place, and then I want to wrap the needle with the thread, and I'll do that 3 or 4 times. You can do it as many times as you'd like. And then while it's on the needle, I'm going to still hold the thread taut. I'm going to go back in the hole and gently pull my thread through. And it forms a beautiful little knot, and you get a very delicate little flower. Turn it around and knot it on the back. Now this is just a simple little embellishment, but it's really beautiful and it works well. So now let me show you some variations. I have all the colors here that I showed you to start with. So these are a couple of examples of how I might use it in my slow stitching. I have my element and my focal point, and then I'll add just a little button with a beautiful little flower. It just ties it all together, and I think it's just a cute little element. This piece is not finished, but I have echoed the shape and the colors here of those stitches. Now another way I'll use it is very similarly, where I'm picking up the colors of the piece using the button as well as the thread in the flower. It's a very cute effect. It's very simple. So I think that's a beautiful way to embellish buttons, whether you use them on a functional item like some clothing, or you just use them in your stitching projects. So that's how I do a simple embroidery using a 4-hole button. It adds a little element of something unexpected and adorable to my work. It's so precious and delicate and quite beautiful. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. And thank you for joining me today.